This tutorial is on how to make a high score screen. I've written this on the whiteboard a couple times, but I thought I'd just help you out. So the first thing we need is some horizontal arrangement. So I'm going to set the width to 100%. And then I want a title. And for text on the screen, we just have label. Notice it's not centered. So if I go back to my horizontal arrangement, I can align horizontal and center it. And the text I want it to display for the label is high scores. And then I need to make sure I rename. I'm going to rename it title label. So that gives me my title. I can change my font size. Maybe I want it 20 pixels. I can change its color, all of that. So next I need some text boxes, but I want to go ahead and make them line up in a row. So I need another horizontal arrangement where I'll set the width to 100%. And then I'm going to need a text box for initials. And I'll need a text box for the score. Now I want some buttons, and these are a little bit long, so I can always change their width. So I can say width, let's make it 30%. Width 30%. Now I can put in a button to save. Okay, save score. I should go back and rename things. So my first text box, I'm going to rename initials text box. And I will go ahead and add a hint so they know to put in their initials. Enter initials. And then the other text box, I will rename it to score text box. Notice I'm using camel case as I do this, and the hint will be enter score. Now this needs to display somewhere, so I'm going to add the list view. There's one other thing that you probably need. So buttons to clear it out and buttons to go back to the game. So I'm going to grab another horizontal arrangement, put that in. This will change sizes, so I put that above. And I'll say width, fill parent. I'll just do fill parent this time. And then I need two buttons, one to clear the data and one to go back to game. Okay, so rename clear data button, and I'll have it say clear data. And then for the next one, I'll say rename it game button. We'll just have this switch screens. Back to game. Okay. I forgot to rename this save button. Save score button. Okay. Now you can do a few things to help with the alignment. Say maybe I want these buttons centered. You can change things up with color, all of that. You might also want a clear screen versus a delete all of the data. Now, what about the code? So let's go to blocks real fast. So I'm going to need some lists. So again, those are variables. So I'm going to need initials. Okay, and that'll be an empty list. And then I'm going to need scores. So I just duplicated that. I'm going to call this scores plural instead of score singular because it'll store multiple scores. Okay. And I'll need one more list, and that'll be the display data list. So I'll just duplicate it, display data list. All right. So where should you get the rest of that code from? So the rest of the code should come from the um, disease tracker or the fitness tracker app that you built. So the save score button would be the add button. So things like this, um, and you would have to add the data to the list, add item to list from there. You should also have the clear data button. So the clear data button, you should set your variables to be empty. Now, when are you going to display things? Well, you should write a procedure. And again, this comes straight from Disease Tracker and Fitness Tracker. Data display procedure, and you'll want to actually fill that in and call it at the very end of your save data button. Okay, I went ahead and pulled these from the disease tracker. I paused the video for a second and got them. So I'm just going to build my save score button from the add button. So I'm just going to take all of that code, put it in there on top, and then I have to change things. Well, I don't have an entry months, I have an entry initials. And that's not from a spinner, it's from a text box. So I go to the initials text box and get the initials text box text. Okay, so I can delete this. The next thing I have is instead of entry amounts, it'll be entry scores, and that comes from the score text box. And then to make things look pretty, I can clear out my text boxes. So clear out the initial text box, and I'll just duplicate this, put it there, and clear out the score text box. All right, show notifier. Well, I didn't add a notifier, but I can go do that real fast. So I'll go grab a notifier, add it, and now we'll have that pop-up notifier. Notifier 1. And then it says call data display. Well, this is the code from Disease Tracker, and I'll just take it, steal it, put it in there. And now I'm going to go through and change things. So I have the global display list. I called that display data list. Instead of entry months, we just need to pick entry initials or score. And again, this will be display data list. And I just have to switch these around. Instead of global entry months, I will do initials. Instead of entry amounts, I will do scores. I didn't rename it, so it's just list view 1 and data display list. So now I've successfully added, and then calling data display will show it on the screen. So again, how to clear it, I need to set things back to be an empty list. So I'll just duplicate this, set it as an empty list for each one, and you'll go through and do that. And you'll also want to clear out the displays if you have it. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know.